All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Wednesday. Ooh, I got echo here. Just give me a quick second. There we go. I'm all good to go now. This Wednesday, February 24th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone could hear me loud and clear. And hopefully, barring any internet issues like I had from earlier this morning, we should be good to go for class. Great to see Jeff, Donnie, Michael, Tim, Kat, Leda, the ladies of the room there, Stefan, Troy, Skip. Great to see you all loud and clear. Perfect. So let's hop right into it, folks. Like I said, we do have class lined up ahead. I think I was like knocked off from internet for about like 5 to 10 minutes midway through the class. So we were able to get back up started pretty quickly. The recording will be up on the website on the student dashboard later on this evening. And the same to be said for later on with this class ahead. So, later on today, folks, 3 p.m., we'll be talking all about determining a stock's range and the increments in which it could be trading within. So this is almost like a prelude to our pre-market classes that we talk about in the phase 2 stock course, prepping to trade the market open, prepping to trade the market close. You really need to have a good idea as how a stock's daily range and how its average range perhaps can affect the trade that you're watching at the time. And along with that, the increments from pre-market that the stock is kind of bouncing from level to level, so to say. So, that can give you a good idea as far as what increments the stock will be trading after 9:30 anyway. So looking at a trade here like FSR, this was on our morning watch list. News came out early. We're going to zip through the percent gainers and losers list here in just a moment and really zip through because I want to make sure we have enough time for class. But, FSR right away here, it's like right near its all-time highs. Actually, how about this? Even better. I'm recording the screen right now, not this one, another one of FSR, this exact template. And we'll be able to go back on this recording perhaps coming up on Friday afternoon. We'll be talking about all-time highs and lows. This FSR trade just blasted to make a new all-time high. Well, I guess technically. Broke it by a penny. So, FSR off of good news made a fantastic run heading into this afternoon to begin. But, I'll be happy to be wrong here. This FSR trade, I really didn't think was going to make a run for all-time high off 23.63 at any point today. It just kept marching on up right after I said that. So certainly has proved me wrong. It ran up right up to the all-time high, broke it by a penny and pulled back. I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of dumps back under 23 first before it breaks back over and makes a new high. I mean, it's pretty close to 64 right now anyway, but we'll see what comes ahead on this FSR trade. FSR. Definitely going to put this on our watch list just to begin. All right, so let's go from top to bottom now, folks. For any of the others that we ended up calling out, any of the others that we ended up trading, at least from this morning, we'll go over it briefly. The warrants, I guess, top percent gainer right now for FSR. Just look at them. We're not going to really trade it normally. They're pretty illiquid. Yeah, huge spread on this, albeit, cheaper, making the same move on the chart, but I'd rather trade the equity. NVOS, I think this was one from the morning here, if I'm not mistaken. If not, perhaps the late morning, early afternoon. Yeah, this was like pre-market. This thing was like super early. It wasn't even on my notepad, so I just thought it was like maybe early afternoon run up, but nope, you got to zoom out. This thing ended up dumping all the way back down after its pop at like 6 a.m. Eastern time. So, we always talk about this in class, and a free tip, it's just, what's the trend of the stock going into the market open? The stock's up 86% still, but that doesn't mean it's going to keep moving up or it's not going to make a bounce perhaps at all. So here it just opened up, a little shake at first, but it got halted like, looks like 5-6 times here at least from the morning. Got halted on the way down, and we all know once it gets halted on the way down, that's a wrap. So don't get me wrong. Yes, there was a little room for a run up here from like $5 or $7 all the way up towards 13, but I'm not playing with that fire. So, at this point right now, it's still kind of exhausted trading 37.5 million shares. So maybe keep it on your side list for the remainder of the week. Maybe it'll make another run back up at some point, but I'm just going to pass. The SYPR unfortunately made that same dump off. It was another pre-market push early on, but it started to dump off even prior to the market opening up. Or actually, I mean, really, after the first pop here, rather, I should say. It pulled back after it broke below 650 support. And same thing, rinse and repeat. Ended up just breaking down pretty sharply, and not the type of stock you want to hope and hold into. So, you just got to move on pretty quick from that trade. IMNM trade. Probably I know one of us. Give a shout out to one of our students, Rob. He told me in a coaching session, he showed me his trade. He was in it from $62 as a short. he ended up leaving a lot of money on the table on that trade. He ended up getting out, I think it was around 45, but fantastic entry on it on that short. This thing has had a funky last couple of days, right? The pump and dump from pre-market that morning, and then obviously dump back down, and now today making a very low volume run up here, just huge spread, nothing going on the order book even here. You can't see anything. So I'm going to pass on this, but pretty interesting just to see this very low volume squeeze here. We'll check back in with FSR. I didn't want it to freeze up my platform here with the other template running, but looks like it did break higher. Did break the all-time high, new one, 23.75 now, but slammed right back down. So that's kind of where I was saying be careful. So, I was wrong. I guess it broke higher first, but I wouldn't be surprised if this slams under 23 first, and then perhaps we could see it break back above 23 and really run from that point. I think RRD, another one, if I'm not mistaken, from pre-market this morning that dumped off leading into the market open. Ended up making a little bit of a bounce, I guess, here, but that's it. Not much there. All right, let's just skim through now. Not much else I see that we ended up trading from the morning session, at least here. A couple familiar names: SUNW, TAOP. We've traded over this week, I think. This REI actually looks pretty interesting. Before I jump to those, pushing up to make a new high just before, albeit pulling back from there. It's good order book, cheap stock, shortable if it craps out the other way. I don't think it will, just looking at this trend up. But yeah, for right now, this REI trade will join FSR on the watch list. This one looks pretty good. Definitely a nice level 1 or 2 stock, this one. This would be a good focus for us here in the phase 2 course coming up. TAOP made a pop back on Monday. That's right. So to start things off this week, we had the TAOP trade dump back down yesterday, back up today. It's kind of like making the same squeeze up as the INMN trade, in terms of low volume. Yeah, I don't know if they're related to one another, but yeah, for right now, I'm not as interested in that TAOP either, although that seems to be moving a little bit there. Timber, TMBR, just pretty slow. Nice pop heading into the late morning, early afternoon session. Watching from my other screen, I told you folks, for all of our students here that will be joining me in the phase 2 course, we'll show the video coming up on Friday of this week, but I'm recording the FSR trade right now. It's starting to come down. It's on the way down to 23. Speaking of on the way down, this SUNW trade had a nice morning, ended up grinding up nicely, essentially, once it broke high of the day, essentially off 1285-ish, we'll call it. Moved up beautifully from there, essentially up to 15, broke higher up to 1614, but talk about coming back down. That thing is shaking back down pretty quickly here. So, it's really tradable. I mean, pretty active, trading a lot of volume per minute, 25 or 24,000 shares per minute. It's a lot. Spread's fluctuating a bit, but I would call it tradable. Just it's the fact that it's not shortable. So you wouldn't be able to take advantage of this drop off here. You would hope to see this hold of support, move back up. And I just think, given how for as much as it's run up so far today, and then the pullback, we normally don't see that second burst out later on. So I think it's just too late in the day to even try that. If it was closer to the highs, maybe. All right, just go through maybe a couple of others here as I'm skimming through some names that are popping up now. SNSS, we did really well on from this morning. So just to go over this briefly, I mean, this was, active in pre-market. It was on our watch list in pre-market. So heading into the open, it took a little bit, but once it broke over 5, ended up making for a fantastic rally up towards just about 7. I mean, really nice push. Started to consolidate right around 6, a few false breakouts as it pushed up higher. But, whereas I talk about crapping out the other way, you always hear me say that. Look at this. This one's actually shortable. This one we were able to short on the way down. So, simply put, I know it, just easy to see in hindsight, but it built a really nice trend off the lows. Once it snapped that trend line and essentially broke below a support level off 650, that's it. I think I sound silly whenever I talk about that, but that is a beautiful opportunity to try and capitalize on. I don't have my charts up today. I was looking to do that. I put my focus on FSR. So I'm sorry, folks. For all of us in social media, class comes first. I'll show the Bitcoin charts for the next meeting tomorrow. But, Mara Riot, practically as soon as I finished up the meeting with you folks yesterday, I was talking to you about on the 6-hour chart, or I think it was the hourly chart for Bitcoin, and it was breaking below a moving average, or closing below it. I thought that was a bad sign. So very thankfully, again, where I'm happy to be wrong here, it ended up moving right back up. Bitcoin, that is. I mean, from the second I finished up that meeting, ended up completely reversing, held back above those moving averages, and squeezed back up a bit. So that led to a nice rally on Mara and Riot just from yesterday afternoon, like a 3-point move. And then here today, up 15, 16% Mara, and then the same with the Riot. So they both remain tradable. They both are technically shortable. So, if I'm not going to put those that are not shortable on the list not on, then I have to put these on, right? Riot's making a short little bit of a drop off here, I guess at the low right now. I would rather focus on Mara, probably a more liquid order book, cheaper stock too. Huge spread. Wow. Both are pretty illiquid, I should say. Yeah, if there's one I prefer, at least as a day trade, for right now, it's the Mara. June says Mara PM trading per you mentioned yesterday. That's right. Well, on these trades, and I want to clarify quickly because, again, we have class coming up, but, I said to watch these. It's the fact that these stocks, and I should have clarified more during the meeting, so you folks on social media would have seen it. But for all of us in the trading room, I was talking about it after. I was saying, these stocks in the afternoon, if there's like a slogan you've heard me say throughout this whole move in Bitcoin and the blockchains, it's that they don't really make as clean of an afternoon move. They're just very volatile at this point, so they provide more opportunity across the last few weeks and month, rather than when they were like a $5, $6, $8 stock. They just didn't have the volatility then to make us make for a nice pop for us. So here in this case, when they were down 15, 20+%. Hey, if they're not going to make a good afternoon move, meaning in the sense of if they're not going to continue in their direction down, there's a better chance of them going up, right? So, that's exactly what we had here at 3 o'clock. I mean, as soon as the meeting finished up, you can see here, right? That's what happened. All right, so Mara will make the list just because it's cheaper. Pretty volatile still, so I like it. That's all from the gainer side, folks. If there's anything else that looks good that's up, let me know. I'm going to go over here to the losers list just right now. Market's up 410 points. Look at the Dow symbol here right now, just smooth sailing. I mean, this is the good type of insanity, right? I mean, even on certain pre-markets where the market gapped down a bit, this is a good type of insanity in the sense of, the same thing repeating over and over again. Just, it's been smooth sailing on the Dow on the way up, just day over day over day. Gotta love it. Hopefully we see a nice continued move just over the overnight into the pre-markets, right? That's all. So let's hop over to the losers list. Probably won't find as much down, aside from perhaps the CCIV and perhaps Workhorse too, I reckon. Man, CCIV getting hammered once again today. So I know that they had that merger, I think, what was it, with Lucid Motors? Still dropping off. Man, screaming short from earlier today, especially once it broke below the lows off like 33.50-ish, 33, heading into the mid-morning off 10 o'clock Eastern time. And then once again heading into the early afternoon, seemingly off a re-break of support from 32. So given the volatility, right, I mean, this one has a more filled-in order book than Mara. They're not related. I'm just saying in the sense of volatility. This one's a lot more liquid than Mara. I would much rather trade the CCIV even over Mara, even though both make the list. All right, cool. So this will make the top, at least for right now. ETM, shortable, not doing much right now. Pass. We have Riot, and then we have, I guess, I'm going to pronounce it Voit, but we have Riot, then we have Viot, V-I-O-T. Just, not, yeah, little move here on the way down. I guess not little, but, nice move from this morning. Little move here heading into the early afternoon. I guess tradable, but not a lot going on here on the order book. Sans this 54. You got a 54,000 share seller here out of nowhere. I don't know what that has to do. I don't know what that's going to lead to later on today, but for right now, I think we have a decent list already. We don't need to have like 8 or 10 or 12 stocks on the watch list for the afternoon, folks. So between the FSR, even the REI is like a nice level 1 or 2. That's the only one that's like level 1 or 2 on our main list, but that looks great. All right, so let's just see if there's any more on the losers list here. Of course, the workhorse trade. I know Fausto spoke about this trade from the morning. It looks like it ended up holding my line off 15.20-ish. I should have moved this down to 15.15. And then, of course, the whole number off $15. So you have 15.15, then 15. So nonetheless, though, you could see here it failed to break higher, it failed to hold support nicely. I called out an inverse head and shoulders here for a moment heading into the afternoon, and it looked good for a while it lasted. But essentially, it ended up re-breaking below that line. And little shimmy up here, but now at this point, it's just dropping back down. So hey, very tradable still at this point, shortable still for those that have TradeStation. Very good liquidity, cheaper even than CCIV. So yeah, definitely. The FSR trade, folks, just want to jump to right now because I'm watching it on my other screen. Michael wrote it here in the chat board. Yeah, it broke below 23, but I don't know if it's going to pop back up just yet. This might come back down towards 22.50 first. That was a fast break below 23 there. All right, what do we got here from the chat board? We got from Ron. What do you think about AMC right now? It's always a good stock to watch. It's down 0.88%, right? So obviously wouldn't have found it on the losers or gainers list here, but it's tradable, right? Good spreads, cheap. But I feel like it's just more exhausted now compared to what it was doing from this morning. Also, again, just a quick note, we have AMC earnings tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, I feel like you might get some activity in the mornings. We had a nice pop in the afternoon yesterday, but that was based off a great setup. It was already over 7, running over 750 at the time. So here, it already popped greatly from 7 up towards just about 850. I mean, played the 50-cent levels and whole number is very nice. Back down here, pulled back down towards 750-ish, just about held. Listen, if you do well on this trade, if this is a stock that you personally do well on more often than not, then I would certainly put it on your main list. On the other end of the spectrum, if you don't do as well on AMC, if you've never traded it before, then you know what? I think that there might be some better movers, at least as of right now, for the afternoon. That's all. Love my AMC. That's all. So, hey, I'm in class this afternoon, so if I wasn't, and if this made a pop, I'd probably turn to it myself because I do well on AMC. It's the stock that I like. What else we got here, guys? Let's see. Scrolling from bottom to top here, so I apologize. Donnie was calling out workhorse just before June on Mara, late on CCIV. So we got all of those already. Kathleen on GameStop. So let's see that. Maybe if GameStop's popping, that could be a precursor for AMC. Ooh, look at this. This could sell me into putting AMC on the watch list now. Obviously, AMC not making this exact move just yet, but I always like to feel if, we see stocks that move very similarly in the past, and if there's one that's more expensive, makes a faster, sharper move, perhaps we could use that as a guide or a gauge for some of these others. So that could sell me into AMC. I want to look at Bed Bath Beyond. That popped going into late January. BlackBerry, BB. Neither of them are moving really much right now. AMC is more active compared to these, so I like AMC over these so far. And this still isn't even doing a whole lot yet. I guess just based on speculation, I don't mind slipping AMC on our watch list now. That's all. Just keep that in mind, putting AMC on the list in speculation because of GameStop popping. If it doesn't do anything, unfortunately, you're going to be watching the grass grow for a little bit. All right, folks, I think that just about does it. I got a bagel on social media here, at least on YouTube. I don't see any comments so far. So I think that we're just about good to go. We got 2, 4, 6 stocks in total. I'll post and tweet these just across the board right now. For all of us on social media, make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/cybertradingu. And then otherwise, make sure to join us if you have not so far. Just right below, you can sign up for our trial. Just go right to the link on our banner there. All right, for all of us live inside the trading room, up at the buzzer, actually, I'm going to jump to Kathleen since she called out GameStop timely here. She's calling out X. Let's take a look here before we finish up. U.S. Steel at the high of the day, up over 5%. So, I like that, right? That's a stock that I love personally as well, much like AMC. For all of our longtime students like Kathleen and Leda, Grant, you folks know I love my X. So seeing this stock up right now at the high of the day, it's up over that 5% barrier. We don't have too many stocks on our watch list. I'm a sucker for X. All right, I'm in. So, all right, folks. So we're going to post the link. I think Rich just did so already in the chat board. Make sure that you click the link there to join the class coming up. I'm going to take a quick breather myself, refill up the water bottle, get ready for class ahead. I look forward to seeing most of us there. For those of us not, just best of luck trading heading into this market close. Take care.